Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies and Man once again, and today we're going to be looking at My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I'm going to do a review for the whole series that I have been reading kind of on and off for about a year, I think. I can't remember when I started reading it, but I did mention it in one of my reading logs, I think last year. I just can't remember which one or when. And I'm pretty excited to talk about this. I quite liked My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and it did just finish a few weeks ago. So yeah, the author is Hideyuki Furuhashi, which I thought was a person that worked under Horikoshi on My Hero Academia, but apparently this is not the case. This is a guy that's usually in charge of writing novels for different series. He did a few, but I don't really know any of the series that he worked on. And the illustrator is Betancourt, who apparently seems to be well known for drawing for Street Fighter, which is pretty interesting. I follow him on Twitter, or I started following him last night on Twitter, and his art style is pretty good. I really do like it. In terms of publisher, this is published by Viz in the US, but it was originally on the Shonen Jump Giga magazine before it transferred over to the Shonen Jump Plus magazine, or well, the website more than anything. And it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what happened to SJ Giga, if it was defunct or did they just switch it so it was more easily accessible? I'm not too sure. The demographic is shonen, obviously. If it's Shonen Jump, it's going to be a shonen series. The genres are action and superhero, and there is no adaptation of this story. However, you could say that some parts of this story, I think, have been adapted into the anime, but I'm not really sure. I can't remember. And the premise is basically that we follow this boy, Koichi Haimawari, as he engages in vigilantism in the city of Naruhuta. And it's around 5 years before the main story, as far as I understand it. I'm pretty sure that's the timeline here, but I'm not too sure. The thing with all of these spin-offs in these series is that Japan doesn't really care about canonicity the same way that Americans do, and so this story is canon in so much as like Horikoshi said it was okay, and in the sense that some of these stories actually do tie in to the main storyline, but unless Horikoshi brings in Koichi into the main story, he might just not exist. I don't know. It's kind of interesting how that works, but we follow Koichi as he does vigilantism for about a 4-year period, and it's pretty interesting. The plotline is quite good, actually. It has 9 major arcs. It has the beginning arc, which is the first 8 chapters, which basically just introduces the characters and stuff like that. Then we get to see Hall, who turns into Stain. Then we get to see this Queen Bee arc. Then an Osaka arc, which follows Facom and kind of introduces us more to Trigger. And then the Sky Egg saga, which has to do with All Might, if I remember correctly. Then the School Days saga or arc. I don't remember too much about this one. If I remember correctly, though, this is the one that goes into the backstory of Aizawa. Then the Final Performance arc, which again, don't remember too much about it. The Masquerade arc, which is actually the backstory of Mirko. And then the Naruhuta Lockdown, which is the big climactic story for this series. And it's actually very, very good. Overall, the story is quite good. There's a lot of good connections with the main storyline, and the big climactic final arc of the story is very good. I thought it was really well handled. It took forever to read because this is a bi-weekly series, but it was very, very good. It explores a lot of the Trigger stuff from the Che Hiseki arc from the My Hero Academia storyline. It also goes into Nomus and kind of what they are and how they go about, because the main villain in this story is actually a character that is not exactly a Nomu, but is basically as close to a Nomu as you get before actually being a Nomu. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I said, the plotline is quite good. It's a very clear, like, this kid has powers, doesn't really know how to use them, but wants to do good. He gets training from this old asshole guy called Knuckle Duster, and he becomes friends with this other girl that also wants to be a vigilante called Popstep. and he trains and he realizes the difficulties of being a hero, and he continues to work through being a hero and stuff like that. And it's quite good. I actually really enjoy it. It's a little bit more close to what you would think My Hero Academia would be from the very first chapter of My Hero Academia, but I liked it overall. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. In terms of characters, we have Koichi, whose codename is a Crawler when he's a superhero. Was a pretty fun character. He's a pretty standard, shonen protagonist guy. He has dreams and aspirations to be a hero, and more than anything, he's pretty similar to Peter Parker in the sense that he has powers, wants to use them, has to learn a big lesson, and then can continue to use his powers, and eventually has to sacrifice everything he knows and has in order to save his city. Then we have Popstep, whose actual name is Kazuho Huneyama, who is Koichi's girlfriend-esque character. Knuckle Duster, whose name is Iwao Oguru, who happened to be a hero at one point before All for One stole his quirk. Then we have Stedhall, who again is Stain. Makoto Sukaichi, who is Naomasa Sakuichi's younger sister. She also has like a polygraph type quirk, and she actually happens to be a very important character. We have Captain Celebrity, which is kind of like a Superman equivalent, but like shitty from the US, that happens to move to Naruto to escape some issues he has in the US. Then we have Fat Gum, number 6, which is the main antagonist. Oboro Shirakumo, which is Aizawa's classmate from when he was young. If I remember correctly, his story ties into Kurogiri, so that's pretty interesting. We have, of course, Aizawa show up, Mirko, and if Aizawa's there, he also has his two friends there as well, which are Midnight and President Mike. Mirko shows up, Rappa shows up. There's a lot of other characters that show up, but it's a pretty interesting kind of amalgamation of characters that show up, and it has a lot of good stuff in it because it informs a lot of the other stuff that happens in the main storyline without actually making it required reading. So it's a very good supplementary material, and it has a lot of good stuff in it in and of itself, so it stands up by itself. You can enjoy it without having to read My Hero Academia and vice versa. And this is supposed to be a prequel, but it's not necessarily the case. World building wise, it's more normal look at the My Hero Academia world from a more standard person perspective, which I kind of like, because My Hero Academia mostly exclusively focuses on hero trainees, and that doesn't really allow you to understand the world around them all that much. It helps develop the world outside of the hero schools, like I said, and it actually shows a lot of the difficulty that people with weak or grotesque looking quirks have, right? Like people that have quirks that make them look non-human have a lot of discrimination against them that is shown in this story, and that also helps really develop a lot of the underlying socio-political issues of the My Hero world that we don't get to see too much in the main story, which I like a lot. The art style is quite good. I really did enjoy it. I think it was really enjoyable to see. There is a little bit of fan service, mostly in the beginning of the story. Once you get past Pop Step being introduced, most of the fan service of the story goes away or is very minimal. And in terms of a rating, it's a 4 out of 5. It was lots of fun. I really enjoyed reading it, but I think it felt a little too short for me. Looking back on it now, it was a bi-weekly series. There's only 126 chapters, which is about 14 volumes. And it feels like there was a lot more that could have been done. And also, I just kind of am unhappy that it ended before Koichi got to be part of the main storyline, because I feel like he's a really important character in this story, and his powers would actually be quite helpful in the main storyline. So I would really like to see Horikoshi bring him in. And I would have really liked to see the ending of this story have to be like a time skip that leads into him entering, the war arc that is in My Hero Academia right now. But I think that that's a little bit too much wishful thinking on my part. So that sucks, but it kind of lowers the enjoyment of the series a little bit for me. I would have really liked it to have that scene, so it would be a 5 out of 5 for me. But right now it's a very solid 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. very close to a full perfect score. I definitely recommend it. I think it's a very fun hero story in and of itself. But of course, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, I doubly recommend this series. It's very, very enjoyable. It provides a lot of backstory for a lot of characters, and it's just really fun and quite enjoyable in and of itself, like I said. In terms of similar titles, well, of course, My Hero Academia, things like Tiger and Bunny, One Punch Man, all of these other superhero manga would also be kind of similar. And yeah, there really isn't too much more to say. I really enjoyed the story. I loved it so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.